We are renewing a 60-year-old tiled roof. After the tile craftsmen removed the tiles and soil, the carpenters dismantled the Hafu and Uraita. In the previous session, we replaced the Hafu, Hirokomai, Shina boards, and Uraita on the main roof. As sunset approached, we managed to finish installing the sheathing plywood and roofing. This time, after the second day of carpentry work, we will lay the tiles, finish with metalwork, and finally complete the roof. It's a morning with lingering fatigue from yesterday. Before starting work, we have a brief meeting. It seems everyone slept soundly after returning yesterday. Today, we will be working on the lower roof. First, we will remove the rain gutters and Uraita. Compared to the main roof, the existing barge boards and Uraita showed many defects. Come to think of it, the tile worker mentioned, "Be careful, there are lots of holes." We are also removing the Hafu. The multi-tool is being used extensively today. We're using a pry bar to remove the nails that are sticking out of the rafters. If the nails are rusty, we'll use a multi-tool to cut them to avoid damaging the wood. In the slim rafters, some nails weren't holding properly. Tighten them again with screws. The interactions between Kaz and Hiroshi are like two dogs playing around. Shimizu, with 44 years of carpentry experience, is our go-to expert. When we don't know something, Shimizu usually knows. We need to learn as much as we can while Shimizu is still active. I was impressed by how quickly the carpenters created the triangle as soon as it was requested. It made me realize just how amazing carpenters are. We start installing the Hafu.
これ誰も持っとらんと思ってこうで。
清水さん持っとでこうだよ。
黄色はやろ誰もかぶらんやろと思って。
The guys are using matching impact drivers to drive screws. The installation of the Hafu is complete.
春木が折れた。
Over time, the rafters can break when the oil content dries out and they become brittle. We will replace it with a new hinoki rafter. The rafters may break under the weight of snow if they deteriorate, but Kazu's quick action prevented that. Hiroshi is always watching the surroundings, ensuring the overall balance of the work. He's always moving around efficiently, probably covering the most ground. The installation of the Hafu and Hirokomai is complete. Next, we'll install the Shina boards.
切りたくないね。ちょっと合わしたいね、これだとね。五分出しにしてもらっていい？うん。これからゼロに合わせてもらっていい？そいつからゼロに。自信ないでこれできる。
Mizutani is like the reliable older brother of the group. He took the lead in cutting the Hafu, rafters, and Shina boards this time. He also provides timely advice at crucial moments.
まずハブか。それと胸後や。胸やな。まっすぐ来てよ。
From my perspective, Kazu's strengths are his strong ability to promote himself, his strong attention to detail, and his honest nature. The installation of the Shinaita is complete.
でまたタンクレスにしたね。
じゃあもう今度はもう普通の穴ですよ。もう分かれるやつですよ。
これだから変えれるで
上だけ変えれるわ。その上だけのやつをやつつけてよ。便器の中ライトつくし、外もつくし、匂い取りもできるし、お尻の水の出方が4段階できるし、4人まで設定できるのあれ。いやいや。ABCD ってさ、4段階。
その日によって違うの座りの。
なあ、
朝練のもあるやん。
お母ちゃんとさ、お父ちゃんと変えてくれたらすごいよね。
いや、自分で選べるの。
あ、自分で選べる。
もう4段階。
血認証できたら。
With Mizutani's timely comment, the 10 o'clock break came to an end. Next, we attach the Uraita. Once work starts, the project progresses rapidly. No one hesitates, even without detailed discussions. We found old nails still embedded in the rafters. A groove is pre-carved in the Hirokomai to insert the Uraita. It's satisfying when the Uraita fits in smoothly. The existing Uraita was made of thin 7mm boards called Nibusan. Nibusan is a thin board that is rarely used nowadays. Instead, cedar paneling has become common. This cedar paneling, which has mixed red and white parts, is called genpei. It's said that the name comes from the Genpei War, where the red and white flags were used. To avoid interference at the boundary with the existing boards, we slightly trim the tongue of the new boards. Only the visible areas of the eaves will be covered with decorative boards. In modern homes, it's common to cover the rafters with eaves material.
Uraita 終わりました。ここから布地を貼っていきます。
To increase the roof's strength, we'll apply the roof sheathing boards on top. Nowadays, almost all roofs, whether tiled, slate or metal, use these sheathing boards. The structural sheathing increases the roof's lateral strength. On the other hand, some people prefer to use solid hinoki sheathing, which is more durable but slightly less strong. As we near the end, it's exciting to see the finish line, but it's also a bit sad to think that the lively atmosphere will soon be over.
OK です。
こっちは OK です。
6寸でいいっすよ。6寸5分だから。
We'll also cover the partially visible walls with sheathing boards between the pillars.
いや、順調ですね。昨日はすごい大屋根で手こずって、もう5時までやってたね、マック。で、今日は朝から、昨日と同じ工程なんで、慣れた頃にいい感じですね。大工さんがいっぱいいるんで楽勝です。
All that's left is to install the roofing underlayment.
こっちにも立ち上げか。
ああ、こっちの欲しいな。こっちが。
We're using modified asphalt roofing, commonly known as rubber asphalt. It's more elastic and tear-resistant than cheap asphalt roofing. Its durability is said to be more than twice that of ordinary roofing. We fit the plywood scraps to ensure the corners are solid before nailing them down. Before noon on the second day, the carpentry work on the lower roof was completed. We loaded the waste materials onto the truck and packed up. It looks like everyone will be able to rest early today. Next, it's time for the tile workers to step in. We attach resin water sealing tape along the rafters using a staple gun. This is the drip edge at the eaves, called karakusa. We aim for the rafters when nailing the kawarazan. The space created by the thickness of the water sealing tape allows rain that seeps in to flow out without accumulating. In the old days, even if some rain got into the soil under the tiles, the heat from the attic would dry it out. Modern homes are airtight, preventing any rain or external air from entering. But in the past, the idea was to allow some rain in while maintaining good ventilation to protect the house. For this project, we are using flat tiles. We're using a method called hikkake sangawara buki, where the tiles are hooked and nailed to the battens. This method reduces the risk of tile shifting or scattering compared to the old method, where tiles were fixed with soil. Moreover, since the soil is no longer needed, the roof is about 30 key Uraita. Step by step, the roof is being transformed into a disaster-resistant one. Seeing how the Hafu on the main house was beautifully restored, the client requested additional work. When we removed the boards the client had installed, we found that the end grain of the main house had rotted. They asked us to wrap the Hafu in metal in the same way. We've prepared cedar Hafu. We cut grooves at the joints with a biscuit joiner. We then inject wood glue into the grooves and insert the biscuits. The reason for using a biscuit joiner is that the end grain of the main house where the Hafu join was rotting. Cedar Hafu tend to warp or create steps at the joints due to moisture. By using a biscuit joiner, we can integrate the Hafu and prevent steps at the joints. It's so quiet now. Carpentry work is usually solitary, with a lot of quiet focus. It's hard to believe that the lively carpenters were usually working quietly on their own. Now it's time to pass the baton to the sheet metal workers.
Sami? Samina.
Next up is the roof sheet metalwork. We're covering the slate roof on the first floor extension with a galvalume roof using the cover method. The existing roof was crumbling, possibly because it had a low asbestos content. Since the roof on the first floor has a low slope, we chose a vertical seam roof that makes it easier for rain to flow off. Galvalume roofing is lightweight and easy to maintain. Next, we wrap the Hafu in sheet metal. Instead of decorative materials, the base Hafu can be covered with fiber cement siding, calcium silicate boards, or finished with mortar. In old Japanese houses, beautiful solid wood was often used, and in subdivision homes, Lawan wood was usually painted to finish the Hafu. However, after about 30 years, they often become thin and brittle or rot. This time, we're wrapping the Hafu in sheet metal to increase their durability against rain and UV rays. He carries long decorative materials through the scaffolding, going back and forth. Once again, he has done a beautiful job. The 60-year-old tile roof replacement work is now complete. By removing the soil, the roof has become about 3,600 keys lighter. The damaged rafters were replaced. The thin and fragile Hafu were replaced with thicker ones. They were then wrapped in sheet metal to make them more durable. Now, the Hafu are protected from the elements. Thanks to the tile workers, carpenters, and sheet metal workers, this roof has been transformed into one that can withstand disasters. There are still many traditional Japanese-style houses across the country that have aged, but the number of craftsmen who can repair them is decreasing. Although we can't stop the flow of time, I hope many people will appreciate the hard work of the craftsmen who are doing their best today. We're reporting the completion of the work to Director Musashi. Thank you for watching.